Aloha, everyone. I didn't expect to be doing this, but turns out here I am. I couldn't miss up an opportunity to cast a game for London. You know, what a powerhouse team they have. Athena now. They have Grubmerk, Cyber, Karmit, West. Rodri is also there. Yeah, what West? I don't think that you're the weak link anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and assign that role to Rodri. That's gonna be That's gonna be my. I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. It's not actually Rodri. It is it's actually Grubmerk. But that's no surprise to anyone. So, you know, it do be like that sometimes. Now, as far as this game goes, let's see. All right, we're a bit late. We're a bit late. Do. I'm gonna go ahead and ask if we were good to start. Do. We good to start? Is no caster game? Yeah. Okay. What says that London's good to go? Our lineup is Grub. God, why does London do this? Why do they insist on this? Swap spectators, swap spectators, swap spectators, swap spectators, swap spectators. Like, London, I love you lads, but the way that you insist on having your lineup be a specific way really annoys me. Like, it's not even just having a certain number of players, and now the other team is doing it. And now the other team is doing it. Alright. Okay. Athena, Cyber. Kermit, Rodri. Okay. Kermit. Rodri. Okay. Looks like we're basically good to go. Considering that we've already started a little bit late, we should probably just go ahead and get right into it. Send for random person, DQ, Dakota, Reeves. Okay, looks like we're good to go on the Temple of Anubis, and if we're not, there's a reason the pause button exists. Both teams said that they were good and ready to go, so I'm going to assume that extends to now. And again, if they aren't, pause button. Now, on Temple of Anubis, a bit of an interesting map, to say the least. Although I call it interesting merely because it's not any of the maps that we've been playing, which are not interesting anymore to me. On the first side defense, we're going to have Florida trying to put up a little bit better of a fight than they have so far throughout this season. This is their chance to come back. You know, it might be a little bit too far gone for them to get to the season playoffs at this stage, but it is certainly still plausible for them to at least have an opportunity. Aw, Driz, that's Driz. Oh my god. No. Beta caster trivia. West, you piece of garbage. How dare you. Anyway, on the defense, pretty standard. We have a couple of things here that just about make sense. Send on this Junkrat in order to stop things from snowballing. In the event the enemy team plays a Goats comp, but they aren't. As a matter of fact, we're going to be seeing a dive composition coming out from London Two teams will stage off, not quite sure what the others have until Athena gets caught in a trap. She gets saved by the defense matrix. Now Grubmark going in a bit alone. He'll get pinned right into the wall. That'll be an instant deletion of the Monkey Man. It's going to be London having to go on the retreat. But Athena manages to actually take out Dreaves. So if they manage to regroup just fast enough and Grubmark has respawned at this stage, if they go in on this fight, he'll be in a 6v5 situation. They're going to be enjoying that main advantage till finally it goes down to a 5v5. Sind is in a bit of a weak position, being purple, but he'll get the bubble. And at this stage, the respawns must be coming in. Things are not looking too hot for the side of London, but they're still on this point. They still want to go for it. Wesley gets demech'd. That's going to be a lot of their damage mitigation out of the way. Turbo Current, a bit of an unfortunate situation. 5 men all rampaging right towards him. He'll get punished for it. Yeah, there's going to be Wesley eventually finding his remech, but the slam comes through. Nothing to stop it. No Reinhardt shield to block the blow. London, after wasting about a minute and a half, is just going to have to wait for their respawns to come through. And now, if they want to push in onto this next fight, they're going to have to do it through the Lucio ultimate and through Mr. Sind basically having his tire. They do have the armor coming through from Rodri. The question is, will it be enough? There's so much burst damage from this tire, and they're all going to be grouped up. They start off with a good pick. There's a 6v5 situation now, but will the tire even things up or smash him to the ground? The tire comes through, and that's going to be all she wrote for this push, or at least it should be. Wesley just trying to disengage as best as he possibly can. And now we have a couple of a bit of an interesting situation here. So, technically speaking, random person, who, I don't know what that is, I guess this is a random person. Random person has his Lucio ultimate, but Athena can cancel it out with the EMP if she uses it at the right time. Meanwhile, a lot of other ultimates as well. Bit of an interesting decision there. Bomb comes through, manages to find D-Cube, so that's a numbers advantage, but eventually these ultimates are going to come back online through that extra shielding of the sound barrier. Then here comes the EMP from Dreaves. With the extra sustain as well, learn how to spectate, how dare you. With the extra sustain as well as the extra advantage of having utility that the opposing side does not. It's going to be the side of Florida. Taking it pretty easily. We're at a minute down now. Only a minute left to go. It's looking like when in doubt, goats it out. Or at least that's what London's going for this time around. Two teams are still staging here after Dreaves goes into the back line to try and do a little bit of damage, get a little bit of ult charge. X-Man 4 is going to be way behind him. They're afraid of what he might have, but he does not have a shatter. Meanwhile, as the ultimates come through, Riptire finds one, Dreaves finds another. Ultimately speaking, this is looking pretty bad. It's currently a 6v4. Currently a 6v4 situation in favor of the side of Florida. That's not a phrase that we've heard very often. This is a team that struggled, but now they're holding their own against our Stage 1 semi-finalist. Nothing is going in the favor for London right now. Everything is coming up Florida Mafia. They're going to take him to town, guns blazing. This is all she wrote. Again, it's just kind of a cursory fight at this stage, just trying to contest it for as long as they can. London hoping for a miracle, but Florida is going to shoot bullet holes right through those hopes. How do you get to free cam? You press a button twice. So if you press square, it'll put you on player 7, and then if you press square again, it'll pop you out into free cam mode right next to person 7. And now it's going to be unfortunate for London here. They're in a pretty bad situation to start this off. It's impossible for London to win now, and all that Florida has to do is prove that they can at least take one tick off of one of the teams that seemed like one of the strongest in our league, at least after the first stage. And now the question is, what's going to be the plan of attack here on the side of Florida. Just about as important, what's going to be the plan of defense? You can't just have things like, it's a bit of an interesting decision here. It's kind of dive, kind of not. The triple support is a lot of sustain, which is what London's going to want to have. They're going to be able to keep each other alive with all these support ultimates. They're going to be able to support each other as well. However, there's going to be no real tank line that can help in the event that Rotary or Turbo Kermit get dove. Really, ultimately, what it comes down to here is whether or not the side of Florida can take advantage of the weaknesses in the opposing team's composition, of which there are a fair amount. They're moving on, moving in right as soon as they can here, so again, early engagement, but it's not going to start going their way, at least at first. Already, a lot of their bodies falling. They managed to find a DMEC, but that's really all they're going to get for their troubles until they manage to land a final shot onto that Brigitte. Still, though, regardless, there's going to be a lost engagement for Florida, and they're going to have to try and peel out. Mr. Sin still looking to go in. Florida's still keeping really aggressive with this. They're not letting themselves get held at that choke. And really, that being said, London doesn't really have the comp to do that to him either. But even though the side of Florida theoretically has such a strong and aggressive composition, it's not really mattering until finally they start getting the advantage here as one support falls after another. 3 supports down. That's basically the entire team. We'll try and pop the Deadeye, but not today, Matt Mercer. It's not high noon anytime soon. Right now, this is a closing curtain call. The side of this first map, it's going to be Florida taking it really fast. Florida is doing really well, you're right. However, the question is, will that be able to continue? We're on new maps, we're on 2CP, so frankly anything could happen. The question is, will they be able to keep that momentum going forward as we go to our next maps? Next map being Ilios. Gross. Now, I will say that as much as I might have started to hate the previous maps that we were on after being on them for so long, this is a map that I hate already. This is a map that I already, frankly, despise. Ilios, I think, is probably the worst map in the game. But it does have that well in the middle, so that does bring it back around a little bit in my mind. If you're the side of London, having players like Turbo Kermit, you're going to be pretty happy to have someone like no changes, and the side of no changes but 2 minutes. Okay, so Florida wants 2 minutes to break, so we're going to go ahead and talk about what exactly we can expect for this next map. Well, first off, we're going to be seeing if Florida can keep their momentum going here, considering that now they're going to be in a little bit of a change of pace. We saw over and over again that, it's difficult to say. So, did Florida win because they were the better team in that last round, or did they win because, compositionally speaking, they just so happened to have a comp that could always have eventually won them at least one fight? We don't really know that because their defense was so good, but I think that this is going to be a really good test of it. Koth maps are all about engagement after engagement after engagement after engagement, and we'll get to see if Florida can hold up to London. London has a lot of very strong players mechanically. London has very strong players in that they're really good at killing stuff, you know? That's really all that you can say about it. So we'll see if Florida is able to compete on these King of the Hill maps. On Ilios, well, again, I've said this before, but we'll see if anyone brings out the Roadhog, or I expect a Lucio. We don't know if Turbo Kermit's going to be the one on the Lucio. I hope he would be, because he's one of the best Lucio players in the league, but he also kind of changes around what he plays from our expectations quite a lot. We've seen him on main tank on maps where it makes sense for him to be Lucio, but we'll see going forward. Okay, we're ready to start? Alright. But all of what I've been saying is just hearsay and guesswork. Let's get into the actual round and see if any of it materializes.
Now arriving at Helios.
Alright, the first map's going to be Lighthouse. Lighthouse is a pretty interesting place. You can still benefit from playing boop comps, like, you know, you can benefit from playing a lot of the same heroes that you can from Well, but kind of in a different way. So you can play Hamster here, because there are these holes right here to basically kick people into the sea, or at least onto that port. You can play Lucio for obvious reasons. Should be interesting to see what exactly these two teams crack out here on this map, though, because while you can play a lot of that, it's not necessarily optimal in every situation, unless, again, you're Topo Kermit, and you're a good Lucio anyway. When in doubt, goats it out. Again, London's motto, seemingly, for this round. They've decided, well, we're in doubt right now because we already lost the first map, so we're gonna goats it out as soon as we possibly can. Meanwhile, Florida is playing a pretty high damage comp until Mr. Sin swaps onto this Genji. This composition still has the ability to get a lot done, but against the comp that's London's running, I think this is all going to come down to if Dreaves can manage to connect onto a support fast or not. As he gets the opportunity to start shooting onto the huge, meaty sides of his opponents, he's still not finding anything, but Sind will actually be the first one to succeed in his hunting mission. Dreaves trying to escape, but he'll get knocked into the stratosphere. It's going to be the first point capture for London. Now at this stage, we see Sin just trying to make a quick escape. Looking like he's in the vicinity of this Brigitte from Cyber, but they will not meet in combat this time around until Sin decides, no, this is a good opportunity for me to at least get some ult charge, so he kind of does it quite tacitly. 4 people purpled. I'm pretty sure that was a reflect. Mana boost getting charged onto Wesley, and he immediately finds Sin, so apparently already paying off in dividends. Eva Bomb goes through the hatch hole. Doesn't really manage to find much. Maybe the Wesley mech, but he just uses his bomb anyway and manages to get a lot more success with his bomb, getting the support. Graviton Surge comes out. This is just an ult fest from the side of London. They keep on popping it basically as soon as they're getting it. They want to cement these fights, not just quickly, but make sure that it's impossible for the opposing side to even have a chance to play any sort of hero play. And I kind of like that style of playing. It's actually a very aggressive style that gets you a lot of success. If you're constantly using your ultimates before the enemy team can have time to put their plans in motion, you're usually going to win fights because you mess up their plans. We see that now. Grubmark goes in deep, looking for the opportunity of a lifetime, manages to get the slam down on quite a few people. Dreaves, meanwhile, not finding nearly as much success with his ultimate all the way in the back rows. He's getting last fight territory here. Genji is not the answer, Goats. I don't disagree with you, and it looks like Sin kind of realizes that as well now as he swaps onto the Junkrat. Already managing to get a quarter of the way to his ultimate. This is why Junkrat's considered a counter to Goats. Both Lucio's getting pinned by the respective Reinhardts, but the rest of the fight is not nearly going so evenly. This is going to be London basically cementing their first cap victory. London decided that the first map will not decide the rest of their game, and they take a swift 100-0% lead on the first map of Ilios. Athena had some one-to-one coaching with me today about Zarya. Just an insight too. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, now that you mention it, yeah, it is kind of weird to see Athena on Zarya. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that, but yeah.
Justice ain't gonna dispense
Yep.
itself.
Where the coaching is, at least seemed like it found some sort of value or another. Meanwhile, we're now going on to Ilios well, where the name of the game kind of changes quite a lot. We see Dakota on this Pharah. Not only is it just a strong hero in general, but also the boop potential. Notice 3 DPS here for Florida, as a matter of fact.
How do you like them?
Besides running this Lucio, they want to go for the boop kills as much as they can. Dakota Jones, not getting very much healing. Normally would probably expect a Mercy pocket, but right now just has to try and play. Yeah, right now just has to try and play with what she's been given. Not quite a lot. Support and main tank go down. The entire side falls one after the other. It's going to be London getting the first capture here. They want to get another 100% to 0. They want to show that Anubis was merely a fluke and nothing more.
Acknowledge.
Have my thanks.
Sind is now going on to this Genji. He really wants to find some sort of success, but it's still so hard to get it against the comp that the enemy team is running. You can get stunned by Athena or Cyber, and you can still face a lot of difficulty in even getting a value, even if you can avoid the stuns because of the heroes that the enemy team is running. The side Florida goes in deep, but they buy up a little bit more than they can chew. Once again, getting mowed down one after another. You have to question if maybe this 3 DPS comp isn't necessarily working out the way that the side of Florida had expected it to. Quick execution and stagger onto D-cubed. Now look at the ultimates here. It's been so long. It's been 53% worth of time has passed. And yet still, no ultimates on the side of Florida. X-Man is coming up on his, but still, it's been so long.
I'm taking care.
Cybersaurus has gotten all of his team a little bit more armored up and ready for battle. Now we see Dakota has swapped onto the Zarya. They've decided that the 3 DPS wasn't getting them nearly the results that they were looking for. Just waiting for this Deadeye to get popped. Still a bit of a weird position. Can't really get much value out of it here, as long as they're all in that building, but still looking for an opportunity. Anything, anytime to pull at the high noon. Sees the Mercy flying in the air, decides that's my target. Goes for another, gets a double dink onto Dreaves. This should be all that she wrote, basically cemented by that kill. London manages to get the 2-0 victory here. This is going to be a 1-1 game.
Play of the game.
Play of the game, Wesley, my boy. Well, okay, no, I'll give you that one. Yep. I mean, I don't think the Reaper ult would have gotten much, but still, it was a that was a good tech. That was a really good tech, for being honest. Using the Diva Jets to push the Reaper away from the rest of the team. I wondered why Dreaves was so far from the London squad, but now I understand. Alright, and now going forward, we're going to be going on to Blizzard World. Well, the map might be bad, but as I think we've seen off of this map of Ilios, it doesn't matter when these two teams are going head-to-head, both trying to prove something quite significant. They're still going to manage to put up a decent fight on both sides. It's looking like we're basically good to go, at least as far as I can tell. No changes, same. Alright, these two teams are ready. Let's get right into it.
Welcome to Blizzard World.
Now hang on, Blizzard World, all the rules of the game change again. Blizzard World is a map unlike every other. So many flank routes. So many different paths that you can take in literally every single engagement or opportunity. it's kind of mind-blowing how many different ways you have to move around this place. But that being said, we'll see if these two teams can manage to find the correct way to maneuver around the opposing side's defenses. Because that's what matters here. Which team can get the upper hand using the layout of this map to the best of their ability. Dreves looking like he wants to play this Widowmaker. Bit of an interesting play. Widowmaker's really strong on Blizzard World, much in the way that she's strong on a lot of maps. However, he is going to be contending against Athena's Genji, and it looks like that might be the only DPS he has to play against. At least if things remain the way that they are on London right now. It's also looking like the side of Florida is going to have the issue of playing this Widowmaker against double dive tanks. Ever since that Widowmaker grappling hook nerf came through, Widowmaker is so much weaker to even a single dive tank. And considering that now playing against two, things are going to get a little bit messy. It's looking like they want to go down here. Question is, are they going to realize, yep, they know exactly where they're coming from. Fire Strike gets eaten by the defense matrix. Now this is full-on aggression. They're speeding right past them. No idea where they can even go to try and contest this fight. Two already down for the side of Florida. Even after the res comes through, it doesn't matter. Numbers are still getting traded out one after the other. One falls, another rises. But no one falls for the side of London here. A rose by any other name is a team wipe, and that's basically what that was. Leaving Cyber behind in order to push this payload, but everyone else is pushing up. They want to hold on to the advantage that they have, seeing so many people being purple. Now's the time. They take out the Coda while they have the opportunity. They're still in a 5v5 because they still have their Brigitte all the way back there. Now it's still trading out 4v4 situation here. Sleep comes through, really well done, manages to save himself from the Doomfist Fury, but the numbers are still falling here for London. Maybe this time they went a little bit too far. They have to try and back it up, but look at how much progress is still being made here. They've managed to at least get it past a pretty well-known choke point that usually hurts a lot of teams in the long run. Still, nothing being stopped here. No one's contesting it, even though they have the numbers. And finally, the side, and there comes the slam. Seeing no shield in front of him, he decides that now's the opportunity. The Diva Bomb coming through, it won't find anything. There's no way through those shields. X-Man 4 goes for the pin, and it gets booped out of the way by the opposing side's Doomfist. He's hunting down as many people as he can here, just trying to cause as much destruction is Grubmerk in a duel against the other main tank. Dakota Jones pulls out that grab and didn't even really need the tandem usage of the Doomfist ult. It was basically all over to begin with. However, now ultimates are coming online for the side of London. They have Athena with this Dragon Blade if she's going to find an opportunity for it. It's kind of weird against the line that the enemy team's running, knowing that she can really one-shot, and one of the supports actually counters her. So who do you go after here if you're Athena with this Dragon Blade? We'll see if the decision-making comes through. We'll have a little bit of armor to keep things to a little bit of an advantage to the side of London here. However, Slam comes through, manages to find one, but only for a cursory second. Athena cuts through, finds three. Is she going to find any more? She wants to, hacking, slashing away, doesn't connect with any more. Regardless, though, still going to be a lot of damage done out here. London's going to win this fight. They're going to manage to get it basically all the way to second. It won't get all the way there, but it'll get close enough. Dreves has this Death Blossom. If he manages to get to a good place, a good location, we see that now as he decides to try and go up top. He wants to fall down onto the point when the team doesn't expect it, and there it goes. Doesn't manage to find anything? No, because West knew exactly where he was going and kept that defense matrix trained right on his little edgy body. Bomb doesn't find anything, but it does stop the fighting as everyone looks in anticipation for just a quick second. Slam comes through, puts one onto the floor, but no real wins are sought out after that. Meanwhile, over here, fighting is still going on, but it's kind of pointless at this stage. The two teams are kind of waiting for a little bit to come in the way of, Oh, that Mantis Divine 4. That'll be enough. That'll be everything that they need. Athena's still slashing away, but it's basically over. All that the side of Florida can do now is just try and die on the payload, but they don't even do that. They tried to run away with what little dignity that they had in that moment. Now Athena's going after for the chase, but maybe all they're going to find there is a fire strike to the mouth. X-Man 4 going in really deep here. I'm not sure if they want to try and spawn camp or if he kind of made an executive decision on his own to just kind of go in for the pin. He's not getting punished for it though, really. In fact, this is really strong from the side of Florida, managing to hold on to this for a little bit longer and delay it. However, keep in mind, there's still 3 minutes left to go here. Still 3 minutes. Now we're at 3:14. Keep in mind, kids, that's the number for pi. Speaking of pie, this is looking like a piece of cake so far to the side of London, managing to make a lot of progress and still have so much time remaining. They want to manage to cap this with at least 1 minute left to go. That'll put them at such a huge advantage, assuming that this does go into the overtime clock. Wesley Bomb coming through. Will it find much of anything? It just gets caught on the wall just a little bit. X-Man 4 gets stunned out. Now the Graviton comes through. A lot of ultimates being popped here, but who will win out in the end? A lot of disruption being sought out on the side of London here, getting spread around by the grab and the slam, and then by the slam, and then by the hammer slam. Athena manages to find one. Will she find any more? Manages to get the final blow on X-Man 4, but that's about all that she can do. But she wants more. Going after Dakota. Still, Dakota finally managing to get a bubble. Probably been rummaging around, looking, just trying to survive long enough to get that and cement her survival. Athena now hopping around like the cyber ninja that she is. Manages to find. Grubmerk finds a slam down with 2. There's so many ultimates being popped. This fight's been going on for so long. There's still 2 minutes left on the clock. London has the time if they want to go back for the regroup, but they've decided this is it, this is the time. They think that they could do it here and now. Grab comes through, manages to get 2 supports. Bomb manages to actually not find anything at all. Dreves still has his ultimate, and he'll pop it. Will it find anything? No, it basically gets eaten by the defense matrix. Wesley shutting down him as many times as he possibly can. Athena coming up on this blade, about to have it, but they have to give up. This fight has been going on for about 2 minutes, and London has not been able to get the edge that they need at any point. It's just been a slugfest that eventually they have to retreat from. Going to have this armor, but X-Man 4 in position, gets the pin onto Grubmerk. Grub will get, who got bubbled there? X-Man 4 now doesn't have to worry about a shield blocking his shatter. He sees the opportunity and connects it onto 2. No real follow-up, but look at the time. Still only 45 seconds left to go with a pin onto Turbo, Kermit, and now ultimates being popped. Coalescence. They want to try and chase the enemy team right out of here. Get out. This is our house in the middle of our street, not your house in the middle of your street. Athena's sneaking around. Gets spotted out. That's going to be really devastating for them. She didn't even have time to pull out the blade, and considering how little time is left, there's basically not going to be an opportunity for her to regroup with the rest of her team. They're going to go in, finds a slam onto basically the entire team, but will they be able to follow up on it? They're on the ground, but not for too long. They manage to stand right back up, and now a counter slam will come through. X-Man 4 manages to connect it onto quite a few people. Will Athena be able to hack and slash her way through the victory? Manages to get the kill on X-Man 4, but still such a huge number and spawn advantage to the side of Florida. It's looking like this is as far as the side of London's going to go as they get team wiped. Don't sing trivia. No, you.
Score 0-2. Switching sides.
And now it's just going to be on Florida, trying to match the time that their opposing squad just made. It's not too hard. A lot of teams do a pretty good job of capturing the entirety of Blizzard World, and now Florida's just going to have to prove that they can get farther than their opponents. Question is, how are they going to go about doing it? We've seen them be good. We've seen them be good on defense when they just kind of get in a good position to stage a strong stance, to stage kind of a strong positioning. You know, we saw that on Anubis, obviously, when they were defending, and they managed to completely block the opposing team from even getting a single tick, and we saw that then, when the advantage was so heavily favored. I kind of consider the third lane of payload maps to basically be the equivalent of capturing a point on a 2CP map. It's basically the same in that the spawn advantage is so heavy. The spawn advantage is so heavy to the side of the defending squad that it's basically their game to lose, as opposed to the other team's game to win. Now, what exactly is the strategy going to be here? We see triple support. Oh boy, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Guys? They expected them to go the other way. They expected them to go around the right side. Now they're going to get the attack right onto him, right onto the back side. Will they manage to find much of anything, though? The pin comes through. And yes, the first two picks will be going in favor of London. They actually managed to get off the surprise attack, and now they go and contest the point before anyone could get much of any progress done. I'll be honest. That was interesting. I don't know what they expected. I don't know if they expected the team to go the way that they did, or if they expected them to go the right side. But in either case, I mean, it worked, and they got a lot of free ult charge off of it. So what can you really say other than that, I guess? Athena now doing a lot of damage. Tracer, such a huge counter to Doomfist. We just don't know that really because Tracer's so far out of the meta nowadays. Athena's still hopping around. If she can't do it as Genji, she'll do it as Tracer. It's going to be the second defense on the side. You'll get them. It's going to be the second defense successfully made for the side of London. Around about 2.5 minutes left to go. No ultimates have been popped yet, other than Athena's pulse bomb. Now Sin decides, if I can't play Doomfist, I'll at least play the Edgelord. Turbo Kermit's going back here, trying to contest this point. Dreaves, I mean, I get what you're doing. You're moving the team around and force them to stay on their feet, but you're going to get caught out by Turbo Kermit. He knows exactly where you are. Now the rest of the team will go after him. Thea manages to win the duel, and now the rest of the London squad should have a pretty easy time of it. Now in a 6v4 situation, and after getting all that shielding, Robert gets caught out, but so is Dakota, so the trades are still way in favor of the side of London here. Now they want to chase down Mr. Send as best as they can. He manages to teleport out. I mean, okay. And now we see so many ultimates here ready. Keep in mind the ultimate combination here as well. Dreaves has this EMP, Dakota has the grab, X-Men 4 has the shatter. Like, if they just used all of their ultimates in the right moment, it would basically be a guaranteed team wipe, guaranteed capture. The question is, when is that moment going to be? Pin comes through, damage done, and there it goes. There's the EMP, there's the Graviton Surge. That should be enough. They found 3, now make that a 4th. Turbo Kermit's going to try and run away as best as he can. He might choose to go for this recontest, or he might just look for an escape. Roddery. Poor Roddery. Being left all alone. Will anyone actually go for the touch on this point? No, no one's doing it. And Roddery is still just here. He's been seen. He must have. Yep, X-Man wasn't sure if he saw him or not, but he knows now. Roddery's going to be in a precarious situation, to say the least. He will eventually get taken down. Mr. Send now in a good position himself to go for this ultimate. But he gets spotted out by Wesley, and so many of his ultimates have been eaten by him already that he chooses not to pop it then. It's also pretty hard. If he had done it, he probably would have gotten stunned by the Brigitte as well. So I can imagine that also influencing his decision making. As far as the ultimates are going here, London technically has enough to at least stall this point for a little bit, but they can't just stall. They have to go for the victory here. Wesley throwing out a bomb. Doesn't manage to find anything, but it was a nice idea. X-Man 4 goes in an interesting position to try and get a counter, or to try and get a flanking pin. Mr. Sin hoping to finally get some sort of ultimate here, and it doesn't find anything. Wesley gets caught in this Graviton Surge. This is still going in favor on the side of London. Somehow they've managed to pull it back around. Now they have to try and survive for 2 minutes. Athena now on the Widowmaker. However, seeing that Athena's on the Widowmaker, Sind will swap onto the Gingu. They also know the approximate location of where Dreaves is, and Athena takes a pot shot, hoping to maybe catch him out, and manages to get the kill. Okay, we'll get caught out by Mr. Sin though, so it's going to be an even trade. With the spawn advantage, even trades are still going to basically be in favor of London though. Reinhardt gets caught out a little bit. This is going a little bit shaky, to say the least. Slam comes through, only manages to find one, but that's all that they wanted. They just wanted to get Grubmerk on the ground so that they could beat him up uncontested for a little bit. Now Turbo Kermit trying to survive as best he can, but again with that Brigitte stun, it's so hard. Rodri gets hacked out, but he'll have the armor to try and keep him alive for a little bit longer, but now he's getting hit around like the giant pinata that Zenyatta can be. Dreaves, using his hack, cancels out the shields from the Lucio ultimate. Dakota Jones manages to find the DMAC, find the kill onto Grub. Random person finally gets the kill onto the squishy interior of the baby diva, and that's going to be Florida managing to at least capture a second. Now 2 minutes to make it to where their opponents did on the third point. Mr. Sind has this Dragon Blade.
Hello.
X-Men 4 is also in an interesting position. Yeah, he wants to try and get the last couple percentages of his Earthshatter ultimate, but he bites off a little bit more than he can chew. Wesley Bomb coming through. What will it find? He'll manage to get D-cubed. It's going to be the Florida push, basically held for a little bit. Now we're down to a minute. A minute left to go, basically. If they're lucky, 2 opportunities to make it as far... Rodri, okay. Rodri, you're not a weakling. Ignore what I said before. Yeah, at this point, it's more looking like one significant push. Oh, the slam comes through. It actually gets X-Man, who was slamming himself. Grubmerk just managed to have a little bit better timing and won that Earthshatter battle for it. As far as ultimates go, we're in the last phase of this fight now, and both teams should have a lot of ultimates come online during this fight, but to begin with, we're going to have Rodri having a counter to Mr. Sin's Blade. Going to be looking around. They've decided to go into the backside so that they can't be caught out as easily. But someone has to go with that payload. Someone has to actually be moving it, and they'll begin to. Turbo Kermit is the target of this Dragon Blade. The Athena will be the one out of range of that Transcendence who falls. Grubmerk gets hacked. Yay. Wesley Bomb comes through, manages to find Dreaves. That's going to be enough. Wesley Remek manages to find Mr. Sind. That's very good as well. Grubmerk getting the kill on the D-cubed. All the dominoes are falling. All the pieces are going in place. If you're the London squad, the slam comes through and manages to find 3, but Wesley, who didn't fall, will take out the Reinhardt himself. Lund will take their second map. Currently a 2-1 lead, London in favor over Florida. This is the 3K blade, if I remember correctly. 1, 2, 3. Then the chase onto Dakota. That map was certainly a lot more competitive than the previous two have been. The previous two have been landslide victories for one team or another, but this time around the teams really were able to go head-to-head again and again and again. And now, we're going to see if London can cement their victory if we're going into a map 5 as we head in on the 4th map, Dorado. Now, I like Dorado for pretty obvious reasons. Dorado, not only is it one of the best design maps, it's also probably one of the best hamster maps. And I'm a hamster man, so, you know. Some would say I'm a little bit biased. No changes, same, alright. These two teams are ready to go. And frankly, so am I. Let's go.
Traveling to
Now, as far as the story of this match so far, the story has not really been of any individual players. It's really been of the entire teams countering each other in these specific engagements. It's Rodri versus the Sombra, who sometimes he won against, sometimes he fell to. It's Wesley chasing down these Reaper ultimates relentlessly, making sure that no value is gotten out of them. It's X-Man 4 and his constant duels with Grubmerk, whether one of them be on Monkey or both be on Rhine. You know, it's just been a series again and again of these individual duels that have over time meant a lot in these individual team fights. So far, it's led to a bit of an advantage for the side of London in terms of maps. Exclamation mark, score, Ketchup. This isn't hard.
incoming in 30 seconds.
So far, this has been fairly evenly paced. Okay, what just happened? Okay, there we go. So far, this has been pretty evenly matched in terms of one team will steamroll the other well until finally Blizzworld, the teams are just a little bit more equal and even in that brawl. Being a bit of a duel versus this Hanzo. Again, it's these one-on-one duels, which, assuming both of these two stay on these heroes, or I think we're going to see quite a lot of, Thea doesn't see him in her peripheral vision, so we'll manage to get a quick and easy headshot onto the head. Don't think about that too hard. Anyway, Reinhardt, really weak. You must know that, so they go after the kill. We see a bit of a roster shake-up here now for the side of Florida. Their tanks or their DPS. Their DPS or their tanks. Except for Dreaves, who's just constantly been a Reaper in just about every opportunity he can get. Still going after this chase. Grubmerk managing to get quite a lot done here. Well done from him, but now he has to contend with Dreaves on that Reaper. A natural counter to the big body of the Monkey. Dreaves would just turn around, he'd see Grubmerk still again in this duel versus the other main tank. Kind of just tickle gunning each other this entire time. Dakota managing to get the first ultimate of this fight, at least that I've seen. Now a slam comes through. Everyone else saw that, right? So two teams just kind of dueling it out here, but these kills are slowly, one after another, going in favor of London. And now, the question is going to be, now that this fight begins to get a lot more advantageous to tanks with a lot of mobility, who favor a lot of high ground, because that's what this map does. It favors high ground so significantly. It favors mobility so much, with all this ability to just land on your opponents at any point that you want to. The question is, how exactly is the opposing side of Florida going to deal with what London is cooking? Grubmerk hopping around, the mad monkey he is. Coalescence comes through, won't really find much of anything, but it's okay. Turbo Current will also use his sound barrier, even though no real fight had started. Dragon Blade will come through. What will it find? It manages to get the kill onto one, now looking for another, but through that sound barrier, struggling quite a lot. Looking for the final hit onto this Lucio. Slam down comes through. Mr. Sin doesn't manage to find too much with it, or if he did, it wasn't able to be very well. It couldn't be very well followed up on. 4 minutes left to go here. These two sides are now just struggling it out. London's pushing for any little amount of payload space that they can get. I've said before that in a situation like this, it should be over and done for London, but they have this persistence. They just keep on going and going and going, and finally they're getting the advantage. Cyber managing to find one, Athena finding two. Wesley hits the finishing blow onto Send. This stage, it's just about taking out Dreaves, making sure they can't try and stall this out any longer. 5 minutes left to go in order to capture third. Man on Fire gets taken out quite early into the fight, so he's not going to be that much of an issue until he comes back through those spawn doors. Slam down comes through, manages to find two. Will he go for the pin? Doesn't need to. He manages to get the follow-up and get the kill onto two little squishy targets. The bomb comes through, and Maywall, okay. Maywall manages to block it even after the shield was already doing so. Now the Blizzard is coming out, doesn't manage to connect with anything, but it will be a zoning ult. It'll force them to have to run away from that payload. Which at this stage, if you're Florida, you see how far they've moved it in 4 minutes. It's not such a bad place. It's not such a bad deal.
Payload stopped. Is something broken?
Dakota, fully charged, ready to go, has this Graviton Surge. By all accounts, this should be a pretty easy fight for Florida to win. The question is, will Roderi's Transcendence be enough to save the side of London? Apparently it wasn't enough to save Wesley. That leaves them with an advantage in this fight for Florida. 6v5. Blade comes through. Will it find much of anything? It gets the kill on the X-Man 4. Now looking for a bit more, and nothing. Deleted. Mr. Sin's still weak. Might be bursted down, but no. Through all the Coalescence healing, he actually manages to get a pin onto the opposing target. Coming back from close to death to take out not only his support, but also his rival main tank. Well done from them. Going into this next fight, we're going to be seeing both Reinhardts having their Earth Shatters. Dreaves having this Blizzard. 2.5 minutes left to go for London, but they're going to have to manage to find some way to win out this next fight, despite having what I would consider inferior ultimates. Two teams are staging. They've just kind of been holding up their shields and looking at each other for quite a while, but finally some life will be had, movement will be made. Comes down, manages to find only one on the other side of the payload, so no one can follow up. But this one, quite more successful, finds two and is immediately pinned onto. It's still a 5v5 as the numbers trade. Blizzard will come through, make that a 5v4 in favor of London. Blizzard doesn't find much of anything other than Rodri, who no one actually sees and is able to chase after. Yeah, side of London is now just trying to survive as they take out these stragglers one by one. Mr. Sin gets what I'll call a lucky pin, but a lucky pin reciprocated onto him, keeping the numbers traded, and Cyber will be res, so make that a negative deposit in the Bank of Florida. We're at 1.5 minutes left to go. Random person wants to get a bit aggressive, but he'll be punished for that as hard as he possibly can be. Wesley gets the Graviton Surge. Both teams getting Graviton. What is happening? Athena pulls out the ultimate and finds X-Man 4. Didn't really need it for the rest of them, though. Will they be able to make it to the end? They just have to contend with Random Person, who got the respawn, who's just trying to stay alive for as long as he can, but they'll manage to cap it with 1 minute and 9 seconds left to go. So far, if Florida wants to bring this into a map 5, if they want to win this round, they're going to have to show up a lot more than they have been. To their credit, they actually managed to do quite a lot on third, but because they weren't able to find results any much earlier, they had to carry a little bit more weight than they could perhaps handle. But now that it's their turn on the offense, will they come up with any strategies? Will they come up with any ideas to break through the defense that London is going to try and hold on to them? We'll see in just a little bit. Meanwhile, the side of London looking like bit of an interesting composition here, to say the least. Mainly because we don't know what Rodri is playing yet.
That must be nothing but trouble.
I don't see it that way. To me, it's an honor.
Oh, nice little dialogue. Rodri still hasn't picked someone. Okay, there it is. London's been running this triple support comp a lot. Like, a lot. And I get it. A lot of them, the team of 12 support mains. But even still, it's interesting just how many benefits it's kind of brought for them so far. And we'll see if it continues to get anything much for them going forward. Mr. Sin, he has to try and duel a McCree that he can't actually hit sitting behind that barrier, so gonna be a bit of a rough situation for him trying to find any value on this Widowmaker. Now they seize that the barrier has been broken or at least displaced, getting a little bit more aggressive trying to find something. Meanwhile, the two teams kind of brawling it out. Grubmerk gets purpled. And the hack will come through. Alright. Okay. Both sides trading. But now D-Cube getting the upper hand for Florida. That's what they're going to be wanting. They need to be getting kills constantly. They can't leave time for the opposing squad of London to get regrouped. They have the one side, that being Florida, has the advantage of still having their main tank at the moment. But now Grubmerk has returned, so that advantage is going to be all for naught. They've managed to get a lot of space here with only basically a minute down. Now the question is, will they be able to get the kill onto Grubmerk? Yes, they will. And yeah, it's looking like they're going to manage to cap first pretty quickly. No real ultimates pop, no real engagements, if we're being honest. It was just a slow burn of them inching their way forward, meter after meter after meter. Mr. Sin will pop his visor. We actually haven't seen him get much in the way of headshots or anything like that so far. Kind of hoping to amend that here. But still finding not much of anything. Grubmerk gets hacked. It's going to be a pretty good opportunity for the side of the rest of the team, especially random person. Makes it really easy for you to land a nade if there's no shield to even block it. Transcendence will come through. Still in numbers at an advantage to the side. Never mind. Now numbers are pretty even. In fact, to make that an advantage for London, the bomb is up in the air. Doesn't find anyone. It's going to be quite unfortunate for the side of Florida. But London's going to be happy that they finally managed to get a foothold on this payload. Something that Florida never managed to do on their defense at second point. Armor will come through. London want to start this off right. Dreaves, well, he pulls off the EMP. He hacks basically the entire enemy team. It doesn't matter, because no one's there to follow up. No one has the ultimates to follow up. It's unfortunate. Wesley gets the nano boost that he so rightly deserves. And again, this is just Florida kind of in a situation now where they're struggling and floundering. And what do we do? How do we deal with this? Cybersaurus lands a nice hit onto the two squishy targets in order to take them down and send them back to the spawn doors. This is just Florida. If they're Florida, you have to be wondering, what do we do here? How do we have any sort of way of dealing with this? And I think, to be honest, the fact of it just kind of comes down to that Florida has no idea of the advantage that having more mobile tanks could have here. They've basically committed to having this Orisa just sitting on the ground, but that leaves you with so fewer options. But as I say that, they finally, with the help of that damage boost, with the help of a good amount of aggression, pure mechanical skill by the looks of it, they'll manage to shove the enemy squad off of second. Question is, will a recontest come through? It's looking like they want to at least try and go for it. No, they're going to be pulling back. 4 minutes. 4 minutes left to go to the side of Florida to try and capture this third stretch of objective. Penn will come through, manages to find the nice side of the payload, and that's going to be about it. Grubmerk with his shield slowly breaking to pieces. He's going to have to try and run here. Shield's broken, and the bomb finds 3. Bomb manages to find 3 off of that, and that's going to be so much space made. They're looking at such a bad disadvantage here, but now there's basically one fight territory in favor of the side of Florida. They're going to have the ultimates to do it. Mr. Sin is going up to the high ground. If he gets the nano boost, he's going to be able to do quite a lot of damage really quickly. The slam comes through, though. He'll manage to take out... He'll manage to set up the takedown of the person who was supposed to give him the help that he so desired. Again, if you can't win a fight like this quickly, and Athena takes out Mr. Sin, if you can't win a fight like this quickly as the attacker, you basically can't win it at all. The advantage is so heavily favored for the defenders. They're still going to have 2.5 minutes to come back around and try and find a little bit more out of this little brawl that they've got going on here. But will Florida really manage to get the value that they're looking for? Mr. Sin, are you playing Sim? Alright. Should be interesting. Keep in mind, they still have not only this nano boost, but also this EMP. So if they nano boost Mr. Sin, and he doesn't have to deal with any abilities that could take him out, or he doesn't have to deal with anything that could stop him from going on a nano boosted Sim rampage, he could certainly get quite a lot done. They're going to go right around the back side. And there it goes. The EMP comes out. Dreaves has such a problem of dying after using EMP. I'm not quite sure what it is about his positioning, but it's going to be quite a huge disadvantage. Turbo Current gets taken out by Mr. Sin. Mr. Sin trying to do everything that he can here, but will he manage to find anyone else? The pin comes through. Wesley gets the kill on the X-Man 4. 3 bodies on the payload here, and the Ana in a rough position, I'll say. Basically alone from the rest of the team, but it's such a conspicuous place that the side of London might not even realize where she is. Wall comes through, and now, yep, we see the Ana getting a little bit caught out. The bomb falls like right in the middle of the barrier. It's going to be 4 people down. Make that 5. It's going to be Florida managing to get all the way to the end. We're going into overtime. Well, ain't that something? Granted, it didn't really matter that the Diva Bomb fell in the middle of the Sim barrier because it was Dakota's own Sim. It was Dakota's own teammate. But still, I just thought it looked nice. But now, both teams only have about a minute to get as much space out of this as they possibly can. And how exactly they're going to go about doing such a thing, such a feat? It's looking like, when in doubt, Bastion it out. 30 seconds left to go, and London's still kind of deciding what they want to do here. They know they have to basically plan for any and everything, which kind of messes with how they usually go about building this composition. They're throwing Athena on this Widowmaker again. Against this Bastion, meh, it'll be interesting. If they can get in good positions, they'll have at least a chance, but they waited so long to actually pick these heroes that Athena and Turbo Kermit don't have a chance to get properly set up in the way that normally those DPS picks would want to be. Speaking of getting properly set up, we see Mr. Sin now finally setting himself up on this payload. Doesn't have the shielding that he wants. Athena manages to get the first pick of the round, though, with a clean kill. Turbo Carmen managing to find another. Grub getting pinned down, but he'll be the only one to fall to the side of London, so they're going to be okay with this, at least at the moment. Mr. Sin now on the Genji. They've decided, well, the first go around with that Bastion didn't work. They have no reason to expect that it will work again. That if it didn't work the first time, it'll work the second, so they decided to just kind of let it go. Mr. Sin now going a little bit of backline harassment. That payload is getting pushed forward, but at the cost of D cubed. Dreaves also loses translocator. That's not going to be a good look for him. Turbo Current pulls out that tire, manages to vaporize two of his opponents. Ko Jones basically the last thing standing in the way of London here. D cubed might be able to touch, but no. The poor little monk will not be able to climb that hurdle. Alright, so now, this is all going to be on London. If London manages to make it farther than their opponents did, they will win this set. 3-1. If they don't, we'll be going into an overtime round of Lijiang Tower. With a minute left to go, it's not so much about having a well thought out plan as much as it is surprising the opponent. All you have to do is win this first fight. That's it. It's all you have to do if you're the attacking side. Your best opportunity is going to be when the enemy team doesn't know what to expect. And for that reason, and that reason alone, I think London should play the hamster ball. Listen, hear me out. You go the hamster ball. You go around here. You go up these steps. You see the enemy all set up over there. You hook right there, and you swing into them like this, and then you knock them down on the ground. It works actually every time. There you go. There's your hamster ball. There's your hamster ball tech of the day. Trivia so biased towards hamster. Yeah, I am biased towards hamster. Greaves up on top of this building, as is Mr. Sin. They're looking for a little bit of a dive onto the opposing squad if they can find an opportunity for it. Turbo Kermit taking quite a lot of damage. He might get fallen. But no, the healing will come through just enough to keep him alive. Battles are kind of going on everywhere. What an absolute mess. X-Man 4, okay, X-Man 4 goes flying after hitting the wrong corner of that payload. And yeah, slowly but surely, London taking them out one by one. Again, it just kind of seems like as long as you can win this first engagement, you'll be able to bring it all the way to the end. London manages to take it 3-1 victory.
Play of the game.
Let's just send actually getting the play of the game with the Symmetra. Yep, the bomb fell right in the middle of that barrier. Yep. As they say, you love to see it.
Impeccable.
Poor Florida always comes off to a good start but runs out of steam. That's pretty fair. Florida always seems to have at least one moment in every single game that they play where we see a lot of promise in the team. Now, sometimes it's at the beginning. In fact, I'd agree with you, Drizzly. It's most of the time. But sometimes it's at the end. Sometimes it's like in the middle. Like it can be basically anywhere. But all they manage to do is have this spark of greatness and then lose it entirely for the entire rest of the set. So now it's going to be... Now it's going to be time for some quick interviews. Now, who do I interview on the side of London? That looks so good on Anubis. Yeah, I agree. I think that Florida looked good, but also London looked very weak on Anubis. I don't think that those things are necessarily mutually exclusive. Now, as far as who to interview, who really ended up carry, or who was really like the strongest member of London this game? I mean, kind of. You know what? Grubmark doesn't want to be interviewed until like the end of the season, or at least that's what he told me. So, time for old Wesley, lads. Bring it in, boys. We're getting a quick old interview with our boy in light blue. All right, it's taking a little bit. Huh. All right, there we go. Invitation has been sent to Wesley. Hello, Wes.
Hello, Trivia.
Now, do me a favor. Make sure your thing is
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, it should be. It says always allow, so I
Alright.
assume it is.
Okay, I believe you. Even if you aren't, I mean, this is whatever. They'll
Well,
tell
it should
me.
be fine, so.
Yeah. Now your team won 3-1 here. So
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think led to you guys getting the upper hand on Florida this go around? Had a bit of a shaky start.
Yeah, they are a lot better than their record suggests, I think. I think we just played. We all played well, so I don't really know, to be honest. But
Well, from
Yeah.
my perspective, it looked like at an individual level, a lot of you were doing a lot of things right. A lot of you were doing
yeah,
your job. So I saw you
yeah, I
do
think Athena especially did well on Tracer and Genji, like on Blizzard World especially.
I saw you do a lot of eating Reaper ultimates, just like keeping
Mhm.
the defense matrix entirely squarely on him or booping him away from the team like you did on Ilios. That was the way it was for a lot of your team. Grubmark did
Yeah.
a good job against his counter. I would say that just at an individual level, it seemed like most of the time there were a lot of 1v1 duels, and London just usually ended up winning them out.
I think our comms were a little bit off today as well, maybe because Conrad wasn't in the lineup. So, but we were fine and came out with the win, so I'm happy.
Yeah. What do you think went so poorly for you guys on Dorado, though? Or not Dorado, on
Do you mean on Anubis?
On Anubis, yeah.
I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it because it was really bad. But everything was off. It didn't feel like I knew how to play the game. But
Just felt
maybe
a
it was
little
just
bit
getting warmed up,
discombobulated.
or yeah,
Just
just
gotta
really
get.
uncoordinated.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really know what to do. We were just going in on our own, and it
Well,
was just
that's
a poor map from us, to be honest.
yeah,
It's
that's the
something to
thing.
work on.
New maps, new stage. Well,
Yeah.
I'm being told by Ketchup that I need to apparently make this quick so that the next game can start. Okay.
Is there a next game?
Well, no. I mean,
It
So,
it was meant to
the-
be Houston and San Francisco, but obviously,
yeah. So, I mean, I
They're gone.
think that what they're doing is we're having some sort. What Athena said at one point, at least, was that we were going to have some sort of like one of those 1v1 tournaments that everyone keeps on moaning about over and over again.
oh right, oh, okay.
But I don't know if anyone's actually planned or scheduled that. So who has any idea?
No,
Houston San
I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing about it.
Yeah, on the schedule it just has nothing there. Houston, San Francisco. I thought no Ketchup. There's no San Francisco anymore. They have left the league.
He's not even meant to start for another 40 minutes, so he's chatting shit.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be scheduled for 40 minutes. I know. 1v1 tournament will 1v1 tournament. I don't know. Athena just said that we were planning on doing one of those tournaments. I have no idea. Message admins at the admins many times over. Well, anyway, Wesley, your team ended up winning this time around. You have added Athena to your roster. She seems to be bouncing around quite a lot. So, what do you think? Do you think it is a welcome addition to your team? You guys don't really change things up too much. You guys have basically
Yeah,
been pretty static.
Yeah, we basically only had Andy for DPS, so we were trying to fit comps around one DPS player, so it was usually like a 2-1-3 comp. And we didn't have a Genji player either, so Athena literally fits perfectly. Well,
All right.
we do have a Genji player, he's just a bit too good to play.
Oh, of course.
That's a problem.
Understandable. Well, in any case, it looks like London going to be just as strong as ever, and now with a little bit more opportunity from a rare addition to the lineup.
Well, if we learn how to play Anubis, we'll be good.
If you learn how to play Anubis. Keep in mind, there's another 2CP map, which is
Which one is it?
Horizon. Yeah.
Oh, that's dog shit as well.
No one knows how to play Horizon. It do be like that
All the
sometimes.
2CP maps are dog shit.
All the 2CP maps. Every single one of them. Absolute garbage. Well, adios, West. I'm going to go try and hunt down someone from
Adios.
Florida, I guess, but they've all left. So we'll see. We'll see about
That's
that.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Adios. Alright, Mr. Send. It says he's in a game. It was my boop on that Reaper and Ilios. That's not what I saw. Look at the play of the game. It looks like it looked like it was I'm talking about an Ilios Lighthouse. Hello. How's it going? So, do me a favor and make sure in your party settings that you allow your voice to be shared, if you would. Should be something like party privacy settings.
Allow your voice to be shared. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right.
This is the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Now,
never done one of these.
first time for everything, my guy. So your team went out to a strong start. What do you think went so well for you guys on Anubis?
So on Anubis, I think it was just like easier to be coordinated because it's like easier for our team and the characters we play to be more coordinated on that map.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, I think like the main problem was coordination on the other maps, but this map, on Temple, we were well coordinated.
So you guys think, what was it? Because Anubis, at least the first point, is a little bit more of a simplistic map. In that, it's pretty just straight lines all the way to that first point. So you think that was just easier for that way, as opposed to something like Blizzard World, where there's 1,800 different flanking routes and all that.
Yeah, I think that makes it easier for us.
Now, you guys did lose the following 3 maps. What do you think ended up leading to that, other than just a bit of trouble with coordination, if you think that there was really anything other than that?
So other than coordination is we were overextending a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like one person, like it could even be like a healer, I don't know. Like anyone on our team. I've done once like before, like at this game. We would just like go in way too far, hoping we could get a kill.
Mm-hmm.
And we would do that endlessly. It would just be staggered one by one.
So my question is not only just getting staggered one by one, the overextending, but do you think that at a certain point, tilt kind of started to get to you guys? Because I'd imagine after a bit of constantly one after another getting picked off, it'd start to get to you guys.
It was getting like I was kind of like on the verge of tilting. We weren't like we're like kind of chill with it, but I was like kind of getting a little more annoyed about just 1-over-1, like just keep on dying. Because like everyone, we want to win, right? But still.
So do you guys think that you can really think of what did you think of what do you think of London as a team themselves? Because it's not just one team playing in this game. It wasn't just you guys maybe being uncoordinated or maybe overextending. What did you guys think about them as an opponent?
As an opponent, they're pretty good as what should we call it? They were coordinated because they were running goats or like triple tank dive most of the time. And those dive tanks, they knew what they were doing. Like they would focus that one person. Like I'm pretty sure someone would just call out, focus this one person, and like everyone would just divert their attention to that one person, and they would die like instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
they were a very well coordinated team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you guys just kind of think it came down to, ultimately speaking, this was just a better day for the side of London as far as coordination goes, because that's basically what West said. What West basically said was that on Anubis he felt like London had no idea what they were doing compared to you guys. But as time went on, it kind of felt like everyone started to mesh better together. So I think that you both are kind of in agreement about what has led to this outcome this time around.
Yeah, and also our team has been trying to like work on coordination a little bit more. And that's because we're getting like we've gotten a new player as well that's been playing as well. And we don't have much people playing because we had 2 subs. So usually all these matches we've been having a sub or 2 subs or something. So we have to experience new players and their play style and like adapt to it. Right? We're not like what we're already used to.
So even though we're already past stage 1, you guys are still in a sort of weird new team phase.
Yeah, because most players aren't playing. Most players on our team are on vacation. You know, the killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been on vacation for a while. He's coming back tomorrow, so he's a really good main tank, and that's what keeps us coordinated mainly. The killer's coordination.
So do you guys think is the killer something like an in-game leader or something like that?
Yeah, he's a very strong coordinator. We just find like that balance between like comms, like influx of comms, right, and coordination of the killer, right? We would succeed very well. But other than that, London is a pretty good team.
So you guys think if the killer had just been here, if we had just kind of had a little bit more structure to what we'd been saying, this would have at the very least been a much more competitive game? Because to your credit, I mean, you guys did sweep. You guys did sweep the first time around. You guys almost made it as far as Blizzard World, and you guys almost won Dorado as well. It's not like you guys did poorly. You guys, in fact, I would say, from what you're saying, not having your in-game leader did very well.
Yeah, we did have some coordination. It's not like we just had no coordination at all. But like, I think we could improve on that.
Well, going forward, you guys will certainly get more opportunities to do so. And let me take a quick look here at who you will be playing against next weekend. Next weekend's going to be you guys versus the LA Battery, as a matter of fact. So the Battery have good players, but they are a relatively new team as well. And the only time that we've seen them play was when they were playing with the sub of Distance. So we've still yet to see what that team looks like completely on their own. So it should be interesting to see how well